quote of the week today is from Steve Wozniak this time. What I was proud of was that I used very few parts to build a computer that could actually speak words on a screen and type words on a keyboard and run a programming language that could play games. And I did this all myself. That was a cool quote. Check the meetup page for upcoming meetups because those are kind of changing. We're having a different scheduling thing, so it will be changing online. This week's pro tip is I kind of wanted to share this because I kind of get really fatigued, me and keyboard shortcuts. So if I have all these guys open and I want to just look at my code, I've got these 3 keyboard shortcuts to share with you guys. So Command 0 closes the editor on the left side. Command Option 0 closes the editor or toggles the editor on the right hand side. And then Command Shift Y toggles the console on the bottom, up or down. So just quickly show you this. So I'm going to do all 3 just really quickly. That saves so much time. So I hope you get some mileage out of that. So moving back. Another one I wanted to share is the simulator. I'm finding that in order to hit the home button on it, there's no home button to get to. So I'm just going to really showcase what we're going to be building tonight is kind of like just an audio player. But in order to close this down, I kind of go up here to hardware, home. So just to do it quicker is Shift Command H, so I can get back to the home screen quickly. That's what I wanted to share. And now we get into housekeeping. So thanks for being here at the Hawaii iOS Developer Meetup. If you're interested in communicating with the members, please keep all communications on the website so we can all see it. We're very, very fortunate to be hosted here at HICapacity. If you're interested in becoming a member, go to their website right there. And final piece of housekeeping is the bathroom is outside and to the right, and if you need to get to it, it's locked, so there's a key on that black lanyard right there by the door. Okay, and then last thing is free tools I like to share. Spectacle app is great for screen resizing without touching the keyboard. I use it all the time, it's free, it's spectacleapp.com. And then the last one I want to share is screenhero.com, which allows pair programming at a distance. So it's a way to share your keyboard and your mouse with someone else online. If you're interested in getting an invite, it's a closed beta, just give me your email tonight and I can sign you up for it. Okay. All right, so the agenda tonight is we're going to do introductions, and then you can feel free to participate in any of the following. Tonight we're going to be talking about test-driven development and Git workflow. I got a really nice list of stuff to do tonight. I hope we get through it, it'll be fun. Or if you want to, you can kind of just break off and pair program or just talk story. It's all good. So we're going to start with the introductions, and I'll go first. My name is David Neely. I grew up about 5 minutes away from here, from Hawaii. I'm working on right now a Bluetooth integration with a iOS app because I just bought a Bluetooth controller and I really want to use it to build games. But in order to do that, I guess I need to build the Bluetooth component to allow the controller to talk to the iPhone. So that's what I'm interested in.
You're going to be using Core Bluetooth.
All right, next check. Core Bluetooth. I gotta check that out. Yeah, it's going to be good fun. And I guess right now, yeah, I really want to do Bluetooth stuff right now. And I guess outside of programming and computers, I'm really interested in music. I just played an hour of live music on KTUH this past Monday, and that was really fun. So that's me. Who wants to go next?
My name is Zach. I'm from Mississippi, but I'm stationed at HICapacity right now. I just finished and published my first app on the App Store Monday. So that's called Dodge It Rocket. It's just a little Dodge It thing. What I'm stuck on, nothing right now since I'm not working on anything yet. Probably gonna try to implement Apple Watch for my games. I guess that would be the next thing I need to learn about. Interests besides programming computers, I'm an intramural basketball, so I'm just trying to get better at that.
Cool. Anybody else want to go next? Sure.
I'm Jay. I'm a developer. I've been a seasoned developer for about 4 or 5 years. Working on a major project right now, using Swift 1 to Swift 3. And I can't talk too much because I'm under NDA, but I've written it in completely in Swift. and our stuff is starting to take off, and I'm just sorry, I'm just a little exhausted, but I've been an experienced developer for a few years, and still got to learn more. One area I want to work on is Bluetooth, because we're going to be using hardware components at some point.
Cool. Thanks.
I'm John. I've been developing since 2010. Used about 16 apps, 13 apps in app stores. I lose count. That's pretty much all I do now, full time. Other than work on my house and retire from Air Force.
No, I'm Tyler. I'm from here. I'm still learning Swift, so I don't have anything I'm working on and stuck on. So.
Could I ask you a question, Tyler? Is there any specific aspect of Swift that you're interested in learning that we haven't covered yet?
Well, I think I should like the JavaScript one that is that I missed.
Okay.
You know, that, the bridge.
The bridge.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Alright, my name is Jason. I'm from here. I currently I take online courses at Full Sail University, and I'm kind of stuck with Swift and just basic stuff just confuses me. So I was hoping I could just listen and pick up on something.
Cool. Thanks for being here.
Thanks.
Can help you if you have any questions.
All right. So tonight.
Oh, chapter 1.
All right. So thanks for doing the introductions. Next, we're going to shift over to tonight's topic, which is going to be creating this app that I just showed. So basically, it is just a UI image view, and then we've got some buttons that are going to play music and stop the music. So the reason that I chose this project to work on tonight was who here has used Git? Git. Okay. And who here has done test-driven development?
I did a little bit.
Okay. I'm going to focus more on that side of things then, instead of the Git, because it sounds you guys all have GitHub profiles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you guys know
it's
how to?
pretty straightforward, and
Okay.
there's a guide on Git.
Okay. Do you guys know how to reverse stuff? Like if you do a change, you do a commit, you push. Do you know how to reverse?
Can we
Go back
through
in
that?
time. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, just
Okay, I'm gonna go forward with the lesson that I planned for tonight, and then feel free to stop me along the way. We have an hour to get through this, and what I'd like to do, if we do have time, is I'd like to do the whole project one time and then come loop back around and do it again. So anything that was unclear the first time through, you can ask questions or we can learn it again. We've got a lot of ground to cover, so I'm just gonna dive in unless there are any questions. Okay, I'm gonna set a timer for 30 minutes, just so we don't go over anything. Right. Okay, here we go. So first thing we do is we're going to open up a new project in Xcode. So here we go. I'm going to call it single view. I'm going to call it audio player 3. And I'm going to have unit tests included because that's what we're going to leverage to do the test-driven development. We have the language is Swift, and we're going next. So the first thing I need to do is I need to initialize an audio player. So I'm going to go directly into my test, and this is kind of how test-driven development works, is that you always run off the test. So you want to have, you build a test that fails, you fix it so that it runs, and then you build another test that fails, you fix it so it runs, and that's kind of how it just compounds and it goes along the way. So I'm going to just bring this project down here. I'm kind of just going to be replicating this project just so we can save some time. So I'll be copying and pasting. If you have any preferences other than that, if you want to see me type it out, let me know and we can try to work on it that way. So here we go. I'm going to go directly into the view controller, full screen this one. And I mentioned actually I was going to go to the tests. All right, so tests, basically this is, I can run a test right now with command U, and now it's running the test, it's building the application, and then it's going to run each of these tests individually. So we're waiting for it, and first it builds, then we're going to wait for the test to run. If the test passes, you're going to see this green. Each test that passes will be green right here. So now it's testing, it's going through all of these tests, and if it succeeds, which it should because we haven't added anything, it should say test succeeded right in the middle of the screen. So we're just waiting for that. Now it's testing, running through the tests. there we go. So we got all our greens here, yeah? So we see these check marks. If it fails, we'll see a red X. So good to go. I'm actually going to delete all of this because I'm not interested in that boilerplate. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, here we go. Let's see. So first thing I want to do is I want to create a test that initializes the audio player. And that first test is going to look like this. Okay. So we're just writing a test. Any test that you write needs to start with the word test. And then after that, you kind of put the function that you're testing right after it. So in here, I'm grabbing the view controller from this one, and I am testing this view controller. So first thing I need to do to have access to this view controller is I need to create it in here, just a reference to it. So I'm going to type in let view controller equal view controller. And that gives me access to the view controller within the tests, where I don't have access to it because it's in a separate file here. So now that that's there, I want to just build it, make sure it builds. And it looks like it built successfully. But this should be accessible. So we want to know, why is this not running? And we see this error here. One tip I want to share is that I've noticed that sometimes when I'm zooming in, I'll get the error message all the way on the right-hand side and I can't even read it. So one quick way to do that is you do Command 4 and it takes you directly to a list of the errors that you get on the left-hand side. So I find that pretty useful. All right, so this is saying that there's no member inside of view controller that is called init audio player. So what do? We got to create it. So jump over here, copy it, go over and start creating it. So func, func audio player. There we go. Let's build it. And now it removes that. But now we got this error because this is kind of the strength of testing, is that we call a function and then we want to do an assertion here. So we can assert if this is not nil, or we could also do equals or does not equal, greater than, less than, and that's the way for us to kind of test the output of our program that we're writing. Sure. Oh, sure. So what's happening, I'll take a few steps out to kind of explain it, is that we usually when we write code, we're writing a view controller, we're editing it and everything. These tests on the side, this process of test-driven development means that by creating these tests, we're testing the code that we're writing. So this is kind of like an ancillary bit of code that is just making sure that what we write is all correct. So that piece right there, it stands for Xcode test assert, not nil. And it takes this right here, and it just says, this better not be nil. If it is nil, then this test will fail. Yeah. So we'll build it. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. So it succeeds, but why do we have this red here? Has no member audio player. Okay, so now we got to create an audio player within the view controller. So I'm going to put it right in here, and I'm just going to copy and paste to save a bit of time. So where is this? Sorry guys, I'm on my other screen just pulling in some code.
Say we said let the audio player equal this one, this will fail because of that one.
This one right here?
Say on the view controller we say audio, once we create audio player,
Right.
audio player equals how do we
Let's check out the URLs.
Yeah, so it's going actually deeper into it. Yeah. So we've created the audio player. Let's see if it builds now that it has an audio player. All right, builds. So it builds, but now let's run our test. All right, so we get an error here. Anybody know the fix for this one? All right, so we're going to import AV Foundation. And I had a quick question. Does AV Foundation mean Audio Visual Foundation? Is that the understanding? Or anybody dig into it? Yeah, it's not video. Audio video, just curious. Okay, so that's it. I'm gonna run the test, see if it works. So I'm gonna Command U. Here we go, running into it. I suspect it's gonna fail because there's no URL set on it. Build succeeded, now we're doing a test. And just to kind of give you guys a heads up, we're only gonna be doing this test-driven development on the audio player, just because if we tested everything, it would just be a nightmare taking too long. Okay, so it failed on that one. So I believe it's because we haven't set the audio player yet. We haven't set the URL for it. So I'm going back down to my code, and inside of init audio player, I'm going to copy this do try catch block. So there it is. So it's basic, it's really basic. We're just setting up the audio player with a MP3 file called Sunset MP3 from Minecraft. And then we should be able to run it now. Shoot, sorry, I don't want to run it, I want to test it. Yeah, if it's unable to load that. Okay, so we're testing. All right, could not attach, unable to attach. I think it's because the, I've seen that error before, and that's when, I guess it's trying to install the program into the simulator and it takes too long, so you get that kind of error. So I'm gonna just try to run the test again. You guys have any questions while this is going?
Is nil just like lack of?
That's my understanding, like uninitialized. You get a nil value if something has not been initialized yet.
I've read like hundreds of pages with full steps straight to
It's like
You ever get an answer?
what?
Oh,
Nil versus null?
I wouldn't be able to explain it to you.
Okay. Nil is
Very
the
chick,
absence
huh?
of value. No, it's like that, but in Objective-C could be like an AND-C, a null pointer, but nil is an enumeration. It's like saying absence of value, like a sum or a none. That's what it
Okay.
is.
Okay, cool. Does that
And
answer your question?
Nil means blank.
yeah, basically no value, no value. It's not a pointer or anything, because it's actually optional. Like
It stands for nothing.
yes, not none.
Is
I
no,
was just
Is
kidding.
nil
No,
null?
that's actually what it stands for.
No, it means
is no
none.
null?
No. So, first you have to fully answer that question, you have to know what is no.
But you could declare something with nil and get an error saying something.
Unexpectedly found nil while unwrapping optional value. I had that too many times.
I'm gonna make a note to talk about that in
Which
the
one?
future.
No.
Nil versus null.
But okay, if you remember, you gotta figure out what no means, in which context.
Okay.
Otherwise you could get confused.
Right.
Too
Okay.
easy.
So I'm gonna bring back in the code.
Best thing to ever happen to programming.
Right?
Yeah, no references? Oh, hell yeah. Buffer overflows and all that fun stuff.
Okay, so we're running into this error because we don't have the MP3 inside here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just drag it in.
Yeah, I love that one. I've seen that one so many times.
So I've got my resources right here. I'm just gonna drag them in. And right there. I want to copy because they're needed to be copied in there because it's in the wrong directory. And now I want to actually do a run the test. So I'm building, running, testing.
Yeah.
Testing.
Okay, where it had that fatal error unexpectedly found?
You bring up your test files.
Oh, yeah. All right, test succeeded. Great.
Cool.
So we're on our way. This is a great way for building stuff. Next thing I want to do is I want to actually play. So I want to do a test for playing the audio. So I'm just copy that in. There you go. So I'm just adding another test, and we're just kind of just going along. So test play audio. I want to try and run this one. After we get finished with test play audio, we're going to be going into test stop audio. And then after that, we'll be done with our test driven development. We're going to be putting in the visual with a UI image view and 2 buttons to actually call the play audio and stop. All right, and then also I'm going to move over to Git real quick. We got to a point, I'm going to just delete this real quick because we got it to a point where we were able to build it, run it, and test it. And this is a fantastic time to do a Git commit so that we can always rewind back to this starting point, a working project. So I'm just going to move over to the command line, and I'm going to bring it up here. And make it so you guys can see. And I'm going to clear this, move it to the side. So what I'm in right now, I need to go up one directory. So cd ... and then what is my thing called? ls. So it's called Audio Player 3 that we're working on right now. Change directory to Audio Player 3. And then I want to do a git status. So git status just tells me what is Git thinking right now, what's it keeping track of, all that kind of stuff. So currently Git's saying that it sees 2 new files that I moved in, sunset.mp3 and sunset.png, and then it also sees that I have changes from the last time that this Git was initialized, where I've updated the viewcontroller.swift file. I've also updated the audio player 003 test.swift file. So does anybody know how to update this and get those in?
Git add period.
All right. All right, so let's do a git status, see what it looks like. We got all our things in here. So now we got that. We want to do a commit message. The commit message is kind of a mark that allows us to know what was updated within this code right here. It also gives us a alphanumeric that's randomly generated that allows us to kind of identify where we want to get back to. So I'm going to do a commit real quick. Anybody know this one or want to call it out?
Git commit. Yeah.
Okay. And what I like to do, not everyone likes to do this, but right here, I like to put what was updated in this one. So I just want to say build, and then kind of just like some English, some text, so that we know what was done here. So I'm going to say added or adds initialize audio. Yeah. So now that that's been added, I look at a git status and I see that I'm on branch master, nothing to commit, working tree clean. That's a great place to be because I know that nothing has been edited or anything, and I can always come back to this spot. So, any questions here?
Don't you push?
I don't push yet because I'm going to get all of my commits going locally, and then I will create a repository on GitHub where I will add the remote locally, and then I'll push once I have everything done. So I could push, absolutely. But do you push after every commit?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So that's a good, is there a reason why you do that?
To keep everything online just in
Okay,
case.
that's a good point. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll lean into that, Tyler. Here we go. I'll go to my GitHub page and I will set up a Git, a repo for this.
Do y'all all use command line only, or do y'all
Yeah.
use the menu?
I use the menu.
I use
This is all.
Yeah.
Use command line, just, yeah. I mean, at my hustle speed though, you can just slow down
Oh
a bit.
no,
or-
like I give you a scan.
I guess I feel like with Git, using on the command line, I feel like it's better to get fluid with the command line, because if you have other projects that you want to keep source control on, you're used to using the command line. Whereas if you use Xcode's Git, difference and everything, you get used to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just for what it's worth. Okay.
So you can do it either way.
Yeah, you can. So I'm on my GitHub page. I'm gonna just create a new repo here. I'm gonna call it Audio Player 3, I think is what we called it. 3. I'm just gonna verify it's my project because I don't want to push up the wrong thing. Yeah, it's 3. So I go back in. Does anybody want to pause and talk about like public versus private, git ignore, or licenses at all? Would that be beneficial? Maybe we'll save it for next time.
Public, you want to see it private, it's basically private.
Right.
You have to pay for private.
Free fee or absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'll just quickly go through it. So git ignore gives you the ability, there's maybe some stuff that you don't want to include in your project that you push up. So this gives you an ability to, let's say that it's a Objective-C or a Swift project. Maybe you have some file like with all your passwords in it or something. You do not want that pushed to the to GitHub. You can specify that in your .gitignore file that will say, please do not push this file, and it won't do anything with that file. Moving on to the license. The license is kind of, so with open source software, if you define a license, this is saying, hey guys, feel free to use it all you want. And that's a very loose license like the MIT license. However, if you use the GNU General Public License version 3, it means that you retain rights. So if anyone uses your code, updates it, and makes it awesome, you still retain the rights and you gain rights of anything that's created after your project. So you kind of retain those rights. So it's up to you what you use. I'm not going to put anything on here because this is kind of just a demo. So I'm going to create the repository. Oh,
Do the default for the git ignore for?
I probably won't even touch it. Yeah, I mean,
Because if you build your build files and stuff that aren't your code,
right.
they're gonna mark your git as dirty.
Oh, yeah, I've never thought about that. So do you have a way that you use this, John?
Well, then down in Objective-C.
Objective. Okay, so
But
there's that in there.
since you got Swift, right?
Let's see if there's a Swift in there.
But is there one for Xcode now? Like, it's not one for doing since.
No.
No.
So let's put a Swift one in there.
I'm not sure what that would do. It's been a while since I've had it.
I'll make a note to loop back around it.
Because, you know, like your build files and all that, Xcode's constantly updating all this garbage in the background. It's had nothing to do with your code.
Right.
But when it compares it to what's on Git, it's like, oh, well, that's what you did that.
Yeah.
And it's not really anything.
It's unnecessary.
Yeah. So.
Okay. It'd be great if we could come up with a git ignore file that.
Yeah, I think that's standard.
Wouldn't git ignore Swift not include any of your Swift programs?
I'm wondering what that does, because what it used to do, I think it just said Xcode or HICapacity. You do it, and you just know to ignore all those code files, and it just look at your source files.
I'm just going to look quickly into the git ignore Swift to see what it looks like. Just a quick guide. So it's just specifying. So this is what a git ignore file looks like. I get the bigger so you guys can see.
It's got like the XC user file.
Oh yeah. So these are basically saying, Zach, that any of these kind of files with that file extension will be ignored and won't be backed up. Okay. Anybody have any comments on this one before I move along? Okay. We'll close this window, go back into our repository, and create it. So we've got our git ignore Swift. I'm just going to put in a license because I don't mind if people use this, so I'm going to do license. Create repository, and here we go. We're on Git. We've created a. See, I created the README. Now I don't know where I have the. Tyler, do you know what I'm talking about when you create a new repo and you have that like list of like if you already have a repo, just copy and paste this one into your terminal. Do you know what I'm talking about? That page? I don't know how to get to that page.
Oh,
Jonathan?
yeah, go to the root project file. So yeah,
This one?
click there,
Okay.
and clone or download. It should give you the link, either HTTPS or this one.
Oh, but I wanna inside of my local copy of the project, I'd like to create the remote, add the remote and then push to origin. Does that make sense?
Okay. From the command line.
Yeah. Because if you don't create a README here, it shows all this stuff right here. Or if you don't do a git ignore license or it'll show you.
I use Emacs, so it does it for me.
Ah, shoot.
I think it's git add remote.
Okay.
And
I'm just going to quickly show you guys real quick what it looks like if you just have a blank one. Just because what we're going for is like, this is the second looking for.
yeah.
So I can just grab this and I'll change it.
Git add remote is the command from your show.
Oh, thanks.
And then you do origin and then the link.
Okay, right on. Thanks. So I'm just going to pause here. Do you guys have any questions about what we're doing right now? Any questions? Okay. So I'm going to just kind of copy this because I'm actually going to be pushing to this repo, not this one. So I'm just copying this, and then I'm going to copy this from the other project. So I'll do it piece by piece. Paste that, make sure there's a space. Go back here, look at my cloner download, copy this, come back, paste it in, and that should work. So I'm adding the remote origin. Does everyone understand what that is? Mm-hmm. Okay. Adding it, and then I want to push it to the origin. Okay, so we're just waiting for it to push, and rejected. I think it's because I don't have any commit from here yet. So git status, actually I do have a commit, don't I? Git log, okay, I should be able to push this. Anybody see anything that I'm missing right now? So
I think it's because the README and git ignore are not in your repo.
I gotta pull first, maybe?
I think so.
Shoot, okay. Let's see, how can I take care of that? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to Xcode, I'm going to go directly into this location, and then I'm going to just copy all this stuff and put it on the desktop right now to a folder. I don't really care what it's called, so push it in there. Now I'm going to delete all my stuff from the audio player 3. And I'm scared about doing this, but oh well. Here we go. Close. There we go. See, we've got this. Git pull. All right. Are there any errors here that anyone sees? Git status. Whoa. Let's see. Anybody have any tips where to go from here? This is why we use Git, so we don't get stuck in.
Pull everything out of your trash can, so you like, audio and video.
Three. Pushing it back inside. Oh yeah.
Between that file and the file, there's 3 or 4 that are in your trash can.
Oh really? Find my trash can. Oh, these guys?
Yeah, those
Okay, that's one. So I'm gonna pull these out. Okay. Push these in. There we go. And
at least you'll get this deleted if you do it.
okay, so we're back here, and I'm gonna just do this one again.
Oh,
What do you think, Tyler?
oh, you copied the GitHub.
Yeah, just press your up arrow
Yeah.
in your terminal. Right. A couple times.
Yeah.
This one? Okay, audio player 3. Okay.
I'll try to push.
Yeah. Go.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay, so the tip of your current branch is behind. So it says, it's telling me to do a git pull. And I'm going to do this one.
Oh, you have to get the branch name.
Okay, so git pull. Oh, git master.
The branch is a placeholder.
I don't understand what you mean.
Right above.
Check.
It's expecting something.
The actual name of the video.
Master.
Yeah.
Okay. What's that?
Master's not a branch. It's
Or we can get a branch name.
well, we didn't make a branch, so we'll do a branch.
Let's see. All right, I'm gonna just in the interest of time, I'm gonna just trash the Git file inside of here. So I'm gonna Command or Control C out of here. I'm gonna list out all the files. I'm gonna just remove this .git, and now we shouldn't have any kind of Git to it. There's nothing. So I'm gonna just do a git init again. Start from scratch. And then I want to do these. So I'm adding the remote. I also want to make sure that I update that to audio player 3.
Do your up arrow thing.
Doing it. Okay, here we go. All right, business. And now we're going to push. I think maybe I don't have a git commit going. Okay. Build first commit git push. Okay. Push large request.
I think you might have to like copy and paste the git ignore and the readme because like
Into here.
yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. That's
I appreciate the help. So copy these, like do a pull first.
I don't know because like
All right, John, we're gonna ignore the git ignore. It's messing this stuff up. So I'll just do a new one. I'm gonna trash this repo. Let's see. I feel like you guys know how to do audio player stuff. You guys know how to do UI image view and stuff like that. I feel like maybe this is the best to keep going on it. So, okay, so let's see. So I'm gonna just go for now. I'm gonna do a new repo, and I'm just gonna kind of focus on, I guess, the rest of this time doing a reverse in Git. Just see what we can do with it. So I'm gonna delete this one. Delete this repository, and I need to type name of the repository to delete it. All right, so it's gone. Do a new one. New repository. I'm gonna call it audio player 3, and we'll keep it public. And this time we're not gonna do any of these, so we get direct access to it. Okay, so I'm gonna go in here. We've done this already. You guys have seen this already. So let's try to put it in here. Okay, I'm gonna remove the git again. So
no, I try to push again.
do the push again.
Yeah, I think
It's already in there. Okay. Boom. All right. So now we're gonna refresh the page. See our project online. Good. All right. So what I mentioned is, let's say you just mess up in your project, and you maybe create an infinite loop that really messes you up. So I'm just gonna close all these down.
Can we try one thing first?
Sure.
Just do a regular build
Of the project itself.
of the project itself, and then do git status.
All right. I just want to make sure I'm working on the right project.
Nothing has changed.
You want to see the stuff that's generated, like being off. Okay. So I'm going to do a build. Just make sure it builds. Okay, builds. I'm not sure why I have that error. Okay, so that I think is just left over because we're not even using play audio in here. I'm going to do a clean real quick. Clean build folder, clean it out, and do a build from right here. Where's that error?
Did you type in testable import?
No, that comes default in a test. Audio player 3. Build succeeded. I'm thinking it's just Xcode acting weird. Yeah, because it works. It looks fine. All the errors are gone now. Okay, and then John, what do you want to test?
I'll just do a git status.
Status. So git status. There we go. So this is the stuff you were talking about.
That's the stuff that gets hit more. So.
We'll loop back to it at some point. We'll be focused on the git ignore file. So what I want to show next is I wanted to show just if you did do some kind of like messed up error and you just don't know where you are. So let's say that I'm just going to be nuts here and just add some stuff. This is the worst thing you could probably do, right? So we know it's not going to build. But I've done so many edits at this time. I'm trying to kind of mimic like it's super late at night. You're just like, you know, I can do this, and you're rocking out and you just add a ton of bugs. So you get to a point where like, what did I do last time? Well, how did I get to this point? The great thing about this is you can actually reverse time. And so I'm just show you what it looks like right now. So it's not building, right? And it won't run.
Oh, basically, image snapshots and then revert.
Yeah, I want to revert the snapshot. I think I did a commit though. I just want to do my log, so I'm going to see where I am. So git log shows me what I've done before. So the first commit that builds, right? I want to go back to that one. And how do I do that? Does anybody know how to do this?
Git reverse.
Okay, close. It's very close. So It's going to be actually in here. I took some notes, so I'm just going to look at them real quick. I get to git reset, so we want to do reset. There we go. Let's pull this guy in, and we're going to go on the command line. So what we want to do here, before I actually do this command, is this right here. I want to replace that with the alphanumeric. You see that kind of orangish yellow thing right here? This is the alphanumeric that comes with this commit. I don't have to.
Every time you commit, it creates one.
Yeah. So here's what we'll do. How about this? Let's do a commit here. Git add commit. And I'm going to say it just messes everything up. So messes. Okay. So we have that. We do a git log. Now we have git log. So you see we have 2 now. So those are kind of like our bookmarks of where we go back to. So I'm going to do the git.
I don't think you actually.
I didn't run it. Okay. So all I want to do is, so which one do I want to go back to? Do you guys know which
The
one?
top one.
Okay. So it lists out your git commits in descending order, yeah? So most recent to further back in time. All I do is I just copy just a bit of this, and I just paste it in right in here. So before we do that, I just want to show you what Xcode looks like. So we've got all these reds, right?
Wait, shouldn't you do the bottom one?
Yeah, I think I was actually wrong. The bottom one's the folder one.
Oh yeah, thanks for that, guys. Okay, so we grab this one, copy it, paste it, and boom. Now we're back to it. Check this out. We go back to Xcode. Waiting for it. Come on, Xcode.
You didn't have to copy that.
Don't let me down.
The whole alphanumeric. Just
No, just that bit. Just right there.
Is it always the same? The first like 5 or whatever it is? The first.
Enough to make it unique.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Head is now at. I'm not sure why it's not working, but this stuff should just be updated automatically.
Was that ever?
Oh yeah, let's do that. Close it out. Oh, it's because it's running tasks. There we go. So now we're going to close out Xcode, stop those tasks, and we'll bring it back up. Xcode, and bring up the project once it loads, and all of our garbage is still there. No, look at that. It's gone though.
That's just the here.
Fantastic. Okay, so building.
Then goes to how it was
There we go.
first time.
If we would have cleaned it, it would have just been took on years, right? Or build it. Either way.
Yeah, probably. So does that make sense to you guys? How we can kind of go back in time? So you can kind of work on milestones as you go along the way. Another thing I want to, how are you guys on time? You guys want to take like a 5-minute break? We've got about 14 or 23 minutes left. You guys want to take a break or anything? Next thing I'm gonna keep going. So I'm gonna show you how to use GitHub a bit more by using issues and then having your commits address the issues that you're working on, and setting up milestones and kind of working in a way that you can talk to other programmers who are working on the code. Hi, are you here for the iOS meetup? Hi. Just we're going over Git right now. If you want to sign up. Okay. So here we go. So we're going back to GitHub, and we want to just make sure that we know what we're working on, what we're working toward. This is a really good way to keep you on track, because what you want to sorry about that. What you really want to do is just keep track of where you are in your code. It's a way for you to kind of build up momentum while you're working on your projects. So what we're going to do is remove over to the second tab, in issues. For this, we want to just create some new issues. So for the first one, probably what I would want to do for this project that we're working on right now, I'm just going to bring it up real quick so we can just talk about it for a bit. So with this project, we added the the image, the 2 buttons to play the audio and to stop the audio. So what would you guys want to add to this if we were maybe just building, I don't know, what would we build off of this?
Maybe a bar that shows you how far the song is.
Okay.
Repo.
Okay, so I heard
Restart song.
restart song. Okay, restart song. So we put it at the top. This is something that we want to do. And then we can assign it to ourselves if we start working with a bunch of people, We also want to do a label and say that maybe this is an enhancement to the project. So we got that in there now. Got side to get it. And then we want to do a milestone 1, just kind of working towards something so that we know we have progress. So I'll call it milestone 1. There we go. So now that's set up. Another thing we want to do is if we want to put in this stuff, we could say if song is playing, we want it to restart at the beginning. So we're kind of specifying exactly what that is. And we submit the issue. Now, this is posted to GitHub, and people who want to come to your code base can actually come in, and they see this, they say, you know what, I've got 5 minutes of my time and I really want to help you out. So they come in, they download your code. We're just cloning it in, right? Same way that we did it before. Go over to the issues. They see this one, they say, you know what, I want to address this issue and I have a fix. So within their commit, they can address this issue and keep your project getting momentum and going forward and building and all that kind of stuff. Do you guys have any questions about this? Why would you use this? Or any questions?
Yeah.
Pretty good idea.
So this is a great way to kind of get started if you have an open source project and you want people to start collaborating with you. It's good first to start out with on your README file to say exactly maybe what stage this project is in, what you need help with, and then that invites people to start looking at your issues, getting into here, and then seeing what you need help with. This is also a way for, let's say someone wants to use your project, but it's not working for them. This is a way for them to tell you, hey, this is broken. They create a new issue. You can address it, and you can have kind of like a history of what you've done and followed up on. So that's issues. I'm not sure what else to show you guys. We've covered creating a repo, creating the project, pushing it to the repo, and creating an issue. Anything you guys want to explore in GitHub? So that was pretty much it that I had planned for test-driven design, development, and Git workflow. I'm happy to break here and have conversations, or if you guys want to talk about a specific topic that you're stuck on or you're interested in pursuing, now's the time.
Test-driven design, like, not in this situation, realistic. Could you give us an example of something realistic? Like, why would you want to use that method? It seems like you're just doubling up on the code. Like, you're having to code all this crap to do a test when you're having.
Right. It's definitely doubling up on the code. I guess having the test in place as you create new functionality in your project. Let's say that you maybe change a variable name in one function or something.
Right.
How that affects other functions in your code base, who knows, right? But if you have the tests in place and you always run your tests, you can ensure that any changes you make in your actual code won't break everything.
Right.
So it's just, it gives you so much, like, it's great for like peace of mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm just wondering if I would screw up my test code, and then I would need to test for my test code. You know what I mean?
Not really, no.
Like if you had bugs in your test code,
Okay,
Yeah.
you'd have an invalid test. So I'm just wondering how far.
I guess I can imagine getting
Yeah,
into that
It's
position.
exception.
Yeah.
But I guess your test code's not that complicated, so it's not.
Yeah.
It's supposed to make you really think about what it is that you want to do.
Right.
So you have to really think about it
Yeah.
deeply, and then you make your test. It's supposed to help you kind of clarify what you want. And so you have to really think about, okay, what am I expecting from my code?
Right. Exactly. Like
And
a
then-
precondition.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then so you write your test like according to that, and then you try to pass it. And
Right.
so it's like having two checks.
Yeah.
So yeah, you might have. I've had bugs in my tests before, but
Right.
it makes me think about closely, like where the problems might be.
That makes sense. Yeah.
If you're interested in a resource to learn test-driven development, this guy Kent Beck, he's kind of like the father of test-driven development. So I'm just going to go over to Amazon.com, just show the book. It's really well written, and he goes through writing, I think, like a currency conversion calculator, and he does piece by piece. He starts off with just like nothing, and he just builds it through tests. So it's a fantastic book. It's It's not that quick of a read, but it'll get you
How many
kind of going
pages?
through the process. I'd say it's like 150 maybe.
Yeah, not too bad.
No, not too bad. But it's a great place to start. The first time I heard about test-driven development, I was like, why? What's the point? But it's just so like it's robust and it gives you so much peace of mind.
Exactly. And you know, there's tools you can do. Not instead of using XC test, you could use like something like the playgrounds. You want to build something.
Oh, you test through playgrounds before you put it into your project.
So, because it can generate results, because I'm doing some pretty sensitive work, and I don't want to keep, since my project is so big, I don't want to keep on building, compiling, and
Yep.
because the builds can take considerable time. So what I'm doing is just do on the playground, I just basically, without disclosing anything, build the thing on the playground, some functions, and play around with it. Just the playground runs automatically after you do that.
Right.
I can change variables, see what happens.
Right.
So there's more than one way of doing TDD. Like
Right.
using a REPL is one way, because you can write function. You kind of know what you do, you can write it. Or if you build a test, build a test, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then do that. That's one approach. I like the playground approach because I kind of know what I want to do and just write it down and see if it works. And I can see the results on the fly.
Right. Yeah. I can see it
Ultimately,
being useful
yeah.
that way.
Because having to build.
Yeah.
Because I had to do that to fix shitload of bugs. That last night, I was doing that for 4.5 hours just to fix it. So it was a critical piece, and I did not want to put in my actual code and then having to just keep on building it.
Yep.
Especially when the build time takes 10 minutes plus.
So I want to just illustrate what Chay's talking about. So if we do have a bunch of tests that we're creating, just make sure this is the right one. So right now we only have one test, but if we have all of these tests and we maybe are working on the bottom test, when we run a test, we have to wait for the entire code base to build, and then we have to wait for Xcode to go through every single test before it gets to the test that we want to run on. We do have the option that we can run just the last test that went through, so just a single test, but we still do have to go through the process of building the entire application and then running a test. So what Chay's talking about is maybe just extracting a method that maybe he's working on, and he can run it through Playground to figure out stuff.
Yeah,
as well.
exactly. In fact, with the general idea of test-driven development is basically you focus on piece at a time.
Yeah.
Especially when my piece can take hundreds of pieces. Especially, it's best to test each piece and
Mhm.
make sure it works before you integrate it. Because if you had something and you also have to test out the dependencies,
Yep.
make sure it works. Because I can tell you, at some point you have to build an app and test it out yourself. But it's good to test each, do it local, then build, and then build it together into a global. Otherwise, you're screwed.
Yep.
And this part I'm doing is so sensitive that I decided to write it typical. To that particular part, I will put it into the playground and just run it to make sure that, and then I was able to catch certain bugs
Nice.
quickly and then change some parameters. But also it's a good idea to document your code, right? Just test it, see what it does. Because if you don't, well, you're gonna have fun chasing. Especially if it has a certain level of complexity.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, always document what you're doing in your code so that, you know, like with playgrounds, if I say printing out certain values, so I see what it's instead of just numbers or whatever.
Great.
Especially when you're in long, complex code. You're gonna be less likely to pull your hair.
So you say you're in an NDA, right?
Yes.
When this app releases, are you gonna be able to tell us all this stuff that you're doing, or are you in this NDA thing forever?
Not forever, but right now because we're making some sensitive deals here, I have to.
But once it's published, or
Yeah,
you'll
once-
be able to explain what this app is that you're making.
Yes, but right now for the next few months, at least month or two, I can't even talk about it because we're actually in sensitive discussions with the companies.
Yeah.
Because of that nature. Mum is the word.
Yep. Gotcha.
I
We're eagerly waiting for you to be able to
I
talk
want
about
to
it.
talk about it, but right now in such a sensitive mode, I can't. You understand, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
But it is a substantial Swift project, over 200, over 150, 200 file. And migrating to Swift runs, Swift 2, Swift 2, that was fun. But 3 wasn't too bad. Just a few things.
4 is meant to come out in June, right?
Yeah, but it's mostly binary compatible. Yeah, just a few things. But that,
I don't know what that means. What's binary compatible mean?
okay, there should be no major break. It's not a breaking change unlike Swift 2 and Swift 3. Few changes here and there, particularly with the string handling, but my suggestion is, if you can, for large projects, convert pieces by pieces, not all at once. I've done that and regretted it. Especially if it's 100, 200 files like mine. That's a lesson I'm learned.
And how many gigs do you have on your development machine? Maxed out.
8, but I'm at 65 on the computer. But the biggest issue for me with this is organizing my code, because I'm starting to go hunt and scroll and pick.
Are you doing groups?
Yeah, I'm doing groups. Even then, there's so much that even hey, which group did I go to? Because you encounter that, and you mentioned storyboards and segues. I can talk more about it and some tips.
Great.
Like some tips in Xcode 8, I think 8 or 7 or 8, you get to use storyboard references because you get refactor. Like if you have a huge storyboard, you can factor them into smaller,
Does
which is
anyone
highly
here-
recommended.
Does anyone here actually use storyboards? Because I started learning in Swift, like the actual coding part, and then I tried to like go to storyboards, but it just doesn't like auto layout and all that
Okay.
stuff. It's just like
Auto layout is the hardest part.
Yeah.
It is indeed one of the most challenging parts, but sometimes you can kind of get away with something.
I think my next app I want to try to do is solo storyboards,
Yeah,
just
that's
to
good.
like
I can.
just to understand it, and that way I understand both aspects, not using storyboards and using storyboards.
Definitely
Yeah.
a storyboard. It makes it easier. It's hard to transition when they don't understand it. And once you start building it, it's easy.
Yeah.
I did a Mac app using storyboards, and I basically before I made the app, I drew out what I wanted to do. Right.
Yeah.
You know, home screen. Okay, that arrow. I have this whiteboard. You know, and I just then this menu comes up, and this.
And it's
happens.
all just kind of drag and
And then
drop.
it was like going from the whiteboard to storyboards was freaking cake. Because it
Yeah.
was just like, oh,
And in fact, storyboards are great for rapid prototyping.
Right.
yeah.
Okay, but if you're writing, the one time I would say would not to use a storyboard is when you're writing a lot of code that's very dynamic. Just you put one and just like there was one point where I'm using have a whiteboard and then just using one of the APIs for charting. You should talk about charting.
Is that an Apple API or?
No, it's a third-party app called Charts.
Right. That's where I have a lot of different charting,
Yeah.
third-party stuff.
Pretty
Fast.
Maybe one week. I don't know if this is a broad enough topic to talk about during one of the meetups, but figuring out what in your code uses the CPU
Oh,
utilization.
instruments.
Use instruments, yeah.
We're going to be covering that next week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we do LLDB, the debugger, and then Aaron, one of the members, he wanted to have kind of just go through instruments in a way that we have. He's coming from Objective-C, so he wants to be able to create a variable, check it out in instruments, and then deallocate that variable and see the change in instruments.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
what we're going to be covering.
actually with Objective-C, you can use Arc. Automatic.
I don't use Objective-C, so.
Yeah, it's from experience it can be a pain. I just love the small font sometimes.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Free Arc.
Free Arc is horrible because you
Yep.
memory leak galore if you're not careful. It's like C
Yeah.
and C++.
They don't have leaks.
The reason I asked that is because on my game, like, if you run into a specific object, it's a pop-up, and when that pop-up happens, every time I lose frames. Like, something's going on with that. I'm like, it's a frame drop immediately, and I
Yeah, we
can.
could use your app as a test case.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
Absolutely, yeah.
And in
It'd
fact,
be fun to track that down.
Yeah.
I can bring
Actually,
it in.
Should we
Yeah,
open to that
this
next
is-
week?
Yeah,
Cool, let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that, and then basically, this is where you use instruments to detect where you're referring to. And I think there are some specific. Are you using any? What APIs are you using?
Like what framework?
Yeah.
SpriteKit. That's
Okay.
the main one. I think I have a couple lines that use like game scene and other stuff, but mainly SpriteKit.
Okay. And then, yeah, because maybe you're initializing because they'll check what kind of resources they're using.
Don't judge me on how sloppy or inefficient my code is. I've
No,
only been
no, we're
coding
not gonna do
for
that.
a
We
month.
did it.
So
That's really
Have you been
impressive that you
watching
got it
him?
done.
Like,
No, I can tell you this is why.
No comments ever.
No comments. But this is something in Swift that getting back to we really need to know a good between value types and reference types. That's ultimately that could be part of the reason.
yeah.
And I know I'm already looking at my code and trying to optimize. I really realize I have these giant objects. I gotta turn them into reference types, and since they're not value type, I have to perform value semantics, copy and write optimizations. That's fun, right, John? Little stuff like that.
Don't be afraid to have people look your code. You should
Yeah.
be excited because that constructive criticism.
Exactly.
I'm sure I'm gonna get a ton of it, but
No, don't worry, don't worry.
I am excited because it is gonna help me learn to be more proficient. Because
Absolutely.
I've never had anyone look at my code.
Like
So
when I first started out, I had some people look at my code. They were just like, "What the hell?" Like, you learn a lot.
yeah.
Because
That,
I
that's
was
why I'm
doing,
excited.
I was basically using like single variables for stuff I should be putting in arrays, and so my code looked horrible because I was
Exactly,
like,
I don't
one,
have-
do
I don't
this,
have a
thing
single
two, do
array
this.
in
I was just
my-
repeating all this stuff. And they're like, "Dude, put it in the loop." I'm like,
Put it in a loop, and like I said, I think we should talk about value and reference types because the excessive copying can be a problem if you're not careful, and especially running games where you might encounter threading issues. You know what I mean? Like with my app, without getting into details again, I'm already starting to trying to optimize how much memory I'm using because sometimes it goes full. So I gotta make sure that I'm not making unnecessary copies. So that's where that book, Advanced Swift, was very helpful.
I am making my way through it. Every single day I read for an hour.
Yeah, I
on
read
Swift.
I've read it 4 or 5 times in a row because I'm starting to really realize those subtle differences, like with collections, can make a huge difference.
So the
It's
book we're
always the
talking
little
about,
stuff.
I'm just going to show the book we're talking about real quick if you guys want to just kind of dive into it. I don't know if it's on Amazon, check, or is it just on the Objective-C website?
That's like, I think,
We're just going to check Amazon, see if it's on here. Yeah, it's right here. This is the book we're talking about.
oh,
Data
I
for
got
Swift
that
3.
I got it directly from their site. And I, since I was one of the I had a pre-release guinea pig book. Was a pre-release, so they had a lot of errors.
Okay.
And some parts were kind of sloppy, but you can either get it from Amazon or a printed copy. Is that a
Paperback.
okay? Yeah, Kindle or yeah. I got it mine through ebook PDF, which I gave you
Yep.
for you to review.
Yep.
And that's the book I've been using to
Den of Thieves.
that. Now whatever. But what I'm saying is I've been using that to really look at my code because it's such a big project. I gotta be more efficient. And yes, I've also learned from my own horrible mistakes. So
"Who are you?"
sorry.
I
No.
don't do any of this, actually. I just saw it on the meeting Meetup.
Just check it out.
Just check it out.
Oh.
I'm actually looking at.
Okay.
But I have like too much name
Double E?
Yeah.
Double E. He's a double E.
Yeah.
I'm a mathematician. More like a mathematical physicist. More than ever.
I'm a high school dropout.
Nice.
But
No, I'm kidding.
but you should be able to pick it up.
Yeah,
Okay, quickly.
yeah. So I thought, I came here just to see what kind of people are doing this. Why? So,
There's a few of us.
that, yeah, so.
Oh, it's good to learn new things, new talents, and it's just fun. I'm glad that you checking us out.
All right. Well, thanks for being here tonight. We are a little over time. Next week we'll be doing LLDB and instruments.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot.
I will bring my